welcome to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. I hope you're having a beautiful, beautiful day. It's always good to be with you on Wednesday. Wednesday, Dialogue with Deidre, 1 hour. We need to hear from you. We need to know what you're thinking about what's going on in this community. But we have a really good show, and we want to hear from you through our Facebook page, Dialogue with Deidre. Go to that Facebook page. Let us know what you want to learn about, what's in terms of what's going on in the city, what's going on in the state, what's going on in this country. And we'll have those speakers come in, and we'll have a dialogue with them. Today, we're going to have a great show. The first 15 minutes of the show, we're going to have John Cameron, who is the city engineer of the city of Memphis, and I know you've heard a lot about what's going on with the new parking meters downtown. So they're popping up in various parts of downtown Memphis and the medical center. So we're going to talk to the city engineer, John Cameron, about that in the first half hour of the show. And the second half hour of the show, Darrick Harris and Cardell Orrin will be on the show to talk about what's coming up in 2014 when it comes to the election. So we should have an action-packed hour, and we're so glad you're with us. You're watching MUTV1.com, Dialogue with Deidre. We'll be back in a moment.
This past year, we all learned the statistics are true. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will experience child abuse, usually at the hands of someone they know. Child abuse happens every day. Learn the signs and take action, because keeping a child safe is everybody's business. Make a difference. Visit safehorizon.org to find out more. Safe Horizon, moving victims of violence from crisis to confidence.
Did you know that every 34 seconds someone has a heart attack? Every 40 seconds someone has a stroke? But it doesn't have to be that way. Every day there's hope. Join me and the American Heart Association and get serious about your heart and your health. If you're doing nothing, do something. If you're doing something, do more. Find healthy living solutions from the American Heart Association's My Heart, My Life. It's that simple.
Hello, I'm James Sanders. There is nothing more important than family and loved ones. Let us help you with your family law, personal injury, and juvenile court matters. Over the last 13 years, our firm has assisted more than 8,000 families in times of crisis, and we want to help your family during your time of legal need. Give us a call today at 901-864-4103 or visit us at jamessanderslaw.com. Don't sit on your rights. Call me today.
Join me, Deidre Malone, for Dialogue with Deidre on Wednesday at 1 p.m. on MUTV1 on Channel 31. Be informed about what's going on in business, healthcare, politics, and what is going on in your community. I will get up close and personal with some of Memphis's leaders talking about everyday issues that affect you. Visit Facebook, Dialogue with Deidre, to learn more about the show. Remember, Wednesday at 1 p.m. on MUTV1, Channel 31.
All right, guys, we gotta be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're gonna run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna run around circles, flat my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up to play 60.
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. John Cameron is my guest. John, welcome to Dialogue with Deidre.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Well, John, we've been reading a great deal about and seeing on various TV news channels about the new parking meters that the city of Memphis is installing in downtown Memphis pretty much, and in the medical center. We have one right here in between us.
We sure do.
Talk to me, John, about why are we changing the old meters out and putting in new meters?
Well, the old meters have basically met their life expectancy. They're going bad. We're actually running out of meters to place out on the street as they expire. I met a gentleman the other day in front of City Hall. He was looking at one of our meters and couldn't figure it out. And I went and looked at it, and the display had actually burned out on it. So they're kind of dropping like flies right now. So it's time to get new equipment.
So how many meters do we currently have, the old meters, and how many new meters are we installing?
Okay, we have about between 1,200 and 1,300 spaces that we control with the existing meters. The new meters, they're going to be a little bit different in that we'll have, on a lot of the spaces, probably 2/3 of the space will be controlled by multi-space meters, which control more than one space. So instead of having 1,200 individual meters, we're going to have something on the order of 135 multi-space meters, and we will still have a few, about 485 of the traditional meters.
Okay, and this is basically the single meter.
Yes, this is the single space meter here, and those are being upgraded to accept credit cards.
Wonderful, because that's convenience. You know, a lot of times you have to look for dimes, nickels, quarters to try and feed the meter. You know, if you have a credit card, will it accept debit cards as well?
It will accept Visa and MasterCard branded debit cards.
Okay, wonderful.
So Visa, MasterCard, we're in negotiations right now with Discover, see if we can have those accepted. And then Visa and MasterCard branded debit cards.
And it will still accept coins.
And it still accepts coins, just as it always has. You can pay by coin.
Okay, wonderful. And so talk to me about, and you're gonna show me after the break, the multi-space kiosk.
Yes.
Talk to me about what makes that so different.
Well, what makes it different is it controls several spaces, usually 6 or more parking spaces. So what we'll do is we'll have these located about mid-block on those blocks which have several parking spaces. And it's a little bit different system. It's called a pay and display system, where the patron will have to go to the multi-space meter, make their payment either with coin or credit card. The meter will then issue a receipt which has an expiration time on that. That receipt has to be displayed on the dashboard of the car where an enforcement agent can see the expiration time on that.
So I think that's important to remember, consumers. You do not want to just take it, because sometimes people will take the little receipt and maybe put it above the dashboard. You want to make sure that that's displayed, because if you don't, you could potentially get a ticket.
Absolutely. We're asking that it be displayed on the curbside dashboard, and don't stick it in your pocket and walk away because you'll end up getting a ticket. You need to display that with the expiration time so that they know that you are paid through that time.
So John, is this the trend across the country? Are we behind the times, or are we above the curve, or in terms of this modernization?
It is the trend. The modernization to multi-space meters has been going on across the country. I think New York City has been using this particular brand that we're using for 15 years. Miami uses them. Austin, Texas uses them. I think I saw recently where Little Rock just installed their first multi-space meters. So it is the trend.
So I know you've been doing a great deal of media as of late. How are we going to educate the public on these new meters?
That's a great question. We're trying to get word out through every point we can, including traditional media. We're going to have a website up and running, which will have instructions. But also for the first several weeks, we'll have meter greeters. There'll be folks that are in uniform with T-shirts and caps and windbreakers that say meter greeters, and they'll be assisting people in the medical center in downtown in using the new meters. So we'll have person-to-person contact for those first few weeks.
Okay, and I think it's important, John, these meter greeters, they will not have cash, they will not be able to, exchange any type of money with you. They're just there to basically give you instruction, correct?
That's correct. They're there to help you out. If you see one of these new meters, the meters have the instructions on them, but sometimes it's a little bit daunting first time you see something new. These folks will help you through the process.
Now, I know the city of Memphis has been going through some fiscal challenges, just like every other municipality, across this country.
Right.
How is the city paying for the new meters?
The new meters are being purchased under a lease purchase agreement. We have a 5-year lease purchase agreement. The payment for that lease will be made through the revenues we expect to make from the meters. We think because of the convenience of being able to use a credit card, that more people will be able to make payments, and those payments will cover the total period of time they need. Instead of, if I went to the meter right now, I might only have 50 cents in my pocket, which would get me half an hour. If I need to stay an hour, I wouldn't be able to pay that full amount. So we're giving folks the convenience of the credit card, and we think that convenience will increase the revenues enough to cover the cost of the new equipment.
So we're not using this, and I've got to put my former legislative hat on, we're not using this as a form of revenue generation.
No, this is a parking management tool. And what the goal of the program is to make short-term parking available on street, to encourage people just to park for the amount of time that the meters will allow on the street.
Okay, so now when we come back, John's going to show you actually how to use the meter. He's going to demonstrate that. You're watching Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. John Cameron is my guest, and when we come back, you'll see the demonstration.
This past year, we all learned the statistics are true. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will experience child abuse, usually at the hands of someone they know. Child abuse happens every day. Learn the signs and take action, because keeping a child safe is everybody's business. Make a difference. Visit safehorizon.org to find out more. Safe Horizon, moving victims of violence from crisis to confidence.
Did you know that every 34 seconds someone has a heart attack? Every 40 seconds someone has a stroke? But it doesn't have to be that way. Every day there's hope. Join me and the American Heart Association and get serious about your heart and your health. If you're doing nothing, do something. If you're doing something, do more. Find healthy living solutions from the American Heart Association's My Heart, My Life. It's that simple.
Hello, I'm James Sanders. There is nothing more important than family and loved ones. Let us help you with your family law, personal injury, and juvenile court matters. Over the last 13 years, our firm has assisted more than 8,000 families in times of crisis, and we want to help your family during your time of legal need. Give us a call today at 901-864-4103 or visit us at jamessanderslaw.com. Don't sit on your rights. Call me today.
Join me, Deidre Malone, for Dialogue with Deidre on Wednesday at 1 p.m. on MUTV1 on Channel 31. Be informed about what's going on in business, healthcare, politics, and what is going on in your community. I will get up close and personal with some of Memphis's leaders talking about everyday issues that affect you. Visit Facebook, Dialogue with Deidre, to learn more about the show. Remember, Wednesday at 1 p.m. on MUTV1, Channel 31.
All right, guys, we gotta be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're gonna run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna run around circles, flat my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up to play 60.
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
No, Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
Taylor Brown is our community drugstore.
No hassle transfer, auto refills, as well as a $4 generic program. Taylor Brown offers deliveries to all customers, including care homes, senior citizens, and hospice.
Taylor Brown accepts Express Scripts, Humana, Cigna, Medco, TennCare, and more.
And remember, it is by us, for us.
Hello, I'm James Sanders, and I want to be your personal injury lawyer. If you've been injured and it wasn't your fault, call me. I can help. 901-864-4103 or visit me at jamessanderslaw.com.
The Cardell Orrin Group is a full-service public relations agency. Celebrating 10 years of being in business, the Cardell Orrin Group is located in Midtown Memphis and represents clients across the country. No matter what size your business, if you are interested in promoting your product or service and increasing your market share, contact the firm that can help you meet your goals. The Cardell Orrin Group. Call 901-278-0881 today.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
Back to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone, and John Cameron, the City of Memphis engineer, is here to demonstrate to us how to use the multi-space kiosks for the new parking meters. John, you want to demonstrate for us?
Yes, this is a demonstration unit that we have. So we have most of the functions are available right now, but we have I think I tested the credit card a little bit earlier and it wasn't working earlier here in the studio, but we can try it again in a minute. These are what you'll be seeing going up around town. They're being installed actually this week. They have instructions across the top. They have information about the hours when they'll be in service. Right now the hours are Monday through Friday from 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. The current rate is $1 per hour for these meters. There will be a minimum charge of 50 cents for each of these meters, both this type of meter and the single space meter.
So John, will the citizen be able to determine how much time they want?
Yes, they will. They will. To start the process, what you do using coins is very simple. There's a coin acceptor here where you insert the coins. Up at the top, it will tell you what the expiration time is. So right now it's showing 1:54, and you can keep inserting coins and it'll show you the expiration time. That adds 15 minutes for each 25 cents. When you have the time you want, you can push print, or if you want to start all over again, if you insert your credit card or coins and you want to start again, you can push cancel and that will start the process all over again. But you push print and the receipt will be printed for you. It comes out down here.
Okay.
And it displays the expiration time.
Okay.
2:09 in this case.
And then, as you mentioned earlier in our show, you need to take the ticket and put it on the dashboard on the side that's closest to
the curb.
Exactly.
So when the enforcement officer comes by walking on the sidewalk, he'll be able to see the expiration time.
Okay.
And again, if you don't have one of these receipts, they'll assume that you haven't paid. So it's very important to return that and place it on the dashboard. Now, if you're like me and you don't carry much change, you can use the credit card. It's a very similar process. We'll see if it'll work.
Hide all your personal information.
Yes. If I can get it in there. Insert your credit card and remove it. It'll tell you to wait just a moment. And then you have two buttons, one that can add time, so you can add time in 15-minute increments, or a max time button, which if you know you're going to be there a while and you want to stay the maximum amount of time, which is usually 2 hours, you can push that button and it'll automatically put the maximum amount of time on there. So it'll display the expiration time again. If you want to cancel, you press cancel. If you're ready to go, you press print. And again, because we're in the studio, this is not working, but it would print out the receipt just as it did with the coin operation, and you take the receipt to your car.
So John, when will they fully be installed?
They are going to be fully installed the week of December 2nd.
Okay.
So we're working right now towards having all the multi-space kiosks up and running December 2nd. The conversion of the single-space meters will take place that week of December 2nd. So by the middle of the week, end of the week, all the meters will be changed out.
Okay, so viewers, you need to understand that you have now been educated. Don't go downtown the week of December 2nd and pretend like you don't know how to work the new parking meter kiosk, because you've been informed, you've been educated. Make sure you have a Visa or MasterCard branded credit card or debit card, and or coins. Coins will help.
Yes.
So anything else you want to leave our viewers
The meter
with?
greeters will be out there the first couple of weeks if they need additional instructions. If you want to go to the website, it's under construction at this point, but within the next week we'll have the memphistn.gov/parking meters will be up and running, and additional information will be available there. Or you can always call the City Traffic Engineer's office at 636-6710.
John, thanks so much for being on Dialogue with Deidre.
Thank you so much for having me.
When we come back, we'll have a conversation with Darrick Harris and Cardell Orrin. We'll be talking politics 2014. Make sure that you tune in to our Dialogue with Deidre Facebook page, and you'll have more information about the new parking meters going in downtown. We'll be back in a moment.
Hello, I'm James Sanders. There is nothing more important than family and loved ones. Let us help you with your family law, personal injury, and juvenile court matters. Over the last 13 years, our firm has assisted more than 8,000 families in times of crisis, and we want to help your family during your time of legal need. Give us a call today at 901-864-4103 or visit us at jamessanderslaw.com. Don't sit on your rights. Call me today.
This past year, we all learned the statistics are true. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will experience child abuse, usually at the hands of someone they know. Child abuse happens every day. Learn the signs and take action, because keeping a child safe is everybody's business. Make a difference. Visit safehorizon.org to find out more. Safe Horizon, moving victims of violence from crisis to confidence.
Did you know that every 34 seconds someone has a heart attack? Every 40 seconds someone has a stroke. But it doesn't have to be that way. Every day there's hope. Join me and the American Heart Association and get serious about your heart and your health. If you're doing nothing, do something. If you're doing something, do more. Find healthy living solutions from the American Heart Association's My Heart, My Life. It's that simple.
We gotta be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're gonna run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna run around in circles, flap my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, we kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up
to play 60.
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
No, Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
Taylor Brown is our community drugstore.
No hassle transfer, auto refills, as well as a $4 generic program. Taylor Brown offers deliveries to all customers, including care homes, senior citizens, and hospice.
Taylor Brown accepts Express Scripts, Humana, Cigna, Medco, TennCare, and more.
And remember, it is by us, for us.
I would definitely consider Memphis a diverse city. It's a wonderful place. All different backgrounds from all different cultures, and to really kind of find a common bond here in the city. My Memphis is family.
One of the things that lets me feel at home in the city is feeling safe around. Whether it's music, whether it's fine dining and restaurants, theater, and the arts, it's available here. My Memphis is music and food.
It's one of the greatest places in the country to live. Unique and individual culture. It's the self-appointed and, I guess, city-acknowledged arts center. The sense of community is really fantastic here. My Memphis is authentic.
Basically, I just live around really nice people. I think people who are moving to Memphis looking for a certain place to live, depending on what you like to do and what your personality is, I think there's definitely a place in Memphis for you. If you like sports, if you like theater, if you like music, if you like nightlife, take your pick. My Memphis is people.
We really fell in love with not only the diversity of the area, but the architecture of the homes. Houses built all the way from the 1800s through the 1920s and 30s just have such a unique architecture. And we fell in love with it. My Memphis is home.
My Memphis is uptown. Uptown because of the people. I have some of the best neighbors, the kind of people who check on you, they invite you over for barbecues.
My Memphis is South Main. You've got to see South Main. There's really no place else like it. It's got this great vintage look. There's a lot going on. Great people from all walks of life, all in one place.
My Memphis is Cordova. I love living in Cordova because it's a great place for a family.
My Memphis is the University District. The University District is a really great place to live because it's convenient to everything. It's right in the heart of the city. Anything I want is a couple minutes away.
My Memphis is Midtown. One of the things that's nice about Midtown is that you're actually involved in a community that's still evolving and changing.
My Memphis.
My Memphis.
My Memphis.
My Memphis is...
Hello, I'm James Sanders, and I want to be your personal injury lawyer. If you've been injured and it wasn't your fault, call me. I can help. 901-864-4103 or visit me at jamesanderslaw.com.
The Cardell Orrin Group is a full-service public relations agency. Celebrating 10 years of being in business, the Cardell Orrin Group is located in Midtown Memphis and represents clients across the country. No matter what size your business, if you are interested in promoting your product or service and increasing your market share, contact the firm that can help you meet your goals. The Cardell Orrin Group. Call 901-278-0881 today.
NFC, AFC, offensive linemen, defensive tackles, quarterbacks, and cornerbacks are all living united to ensure the academic success of millions of kids in our communities all the way to graduation day. But that won't happen without you. So take the pledge at unitedway.org. Make a difference in the life of a child. Suit up like your favorite NFL players and become a volunteer reader, tutor, or mentor with United Way.
With Deidre. I'm your host, Deidre Malone. Darrick Harris and Cardell Orrin are in the studio with me, and we're going to talk politics for the next 20 minutes or so in the show. Gentlemen, welcome to Dialogue with Deidre.
Thank you. Thank you.
Let's just go ahead and get straight to it. There's an election tomorrow. Two items on the ballot. One, the referendum for pre-K. The second is the District 91 state representative race. What do you guys think about the state representative race? Weigh in on that.
I'm actually hopeful that Ramesh will be able to pull it out. Turnouts not been where it needs to be, but I think she still pull it out based on who's voted thus far. But I just would encourage people to just get out and vote.
I think turnout is very low. It's like 2%, less than 2%.
Oh, that's really
in early
low.
voting, and so I think that if there was any shot, that's the same way that Ophelia Ford and Terry Rowland. That's how Terry Rowland got within just a few
Real
votes
close.
of winning, and then got completely beat when it was a regular election. But I think that the opponent of Akbari actually hurt himself by asking for a libertarian designation rather than Republican, because I think even Republicans might vote against libertarian. People don't necessarily know what that means, what that stands for. So I don't know if he did himself any favors in that. And I think, like D, I think that Akbari will
Pull it off. Okay. And so, but to that point though, with the low voter turnout, it's important for Democrats to get out there and exercise their right to vote. Because, to ensure that she pulls it off.
Anything. Because anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Anything can happen.
Ask former Mayor Hackett.
Right.
Anything can happen.
Yes.
Every vote counts.
Every vote. Every
So let's talk about this referendum for pre-K. There, Cardell and I worked very hard over a year or so ago to try and get basically a pre-K referendum passed, and it failed. So here we go again for the city of Memphis. Different dynamics, definitely. What are your thoughts on the referendum right now?
I think from what we did last time in county, the way that they termed it was much better politically, because they focused on the pre-K. Again, when we ran it last year, we didn't really get the commitment for the pre-K from the school board until in the campaign,
and nor the corporate community.
The corporate community didn't come out. We definitely didn't get over $100,000, $200,000 from the Chamber of Commerce to support the effort. I think the focus on pre-K. The thing that I don't like about it, and I guess I probably tend more towards hold your nose and vote for it because of the impact it can have on those children, is that it's connected to the property tax. The property tax decrease is just based on no data, no information, just a small segment of people who think that will impact whether people move to or leave Memphis from residential and business aspect, which hasn't been shown to have any impact. If you really wanted it to be impactful and to have and to really be a game changer, as they kind of termed it, you would invest in what we need in neighborhood redevelopment, in workforce development.
Yes.
We'd have, as people are trying, we don't invest as a city any money in economic and neighborhood development from the budget. Even the money that goes towards Edge, where you're on the board, came from the sale of the depot.
Exactly.
So we don't actively put money towards that. But if you think of $10 or $15 million annually going towards neighborhood redevelopment, workforce development, innovative projects, you wouldn't have to try to count on Robert Lipscomb to finagle and find some federal money.
Rabbits out of a hat
for
every time there's a major.
$1.5 million for whatever you think about the Southbrook Mall effort, to find $1.5 million, or the Raleigh Springs Mall, or all kinds of development efforts that could benefit from active investment.
Should be more strategic. It should be more strategic. It should be more, let's not wait until there is a project, but we should be thinking about long term, how we're gonna fund economic development.
Now the thing about it is that I think is important is that it only says it goes towards reducing the property tax. That doesn't keep the city council or the mayor from increasing the property tax or the budget to offset that. Put it in the budget, let the sales tax decrease it as it's meant to do, and still put that investment in the budget. They could still make it work and still make it a valuable effort.
D, your thoughts?
I absolutely agree with everything. I mean, I don't think there's anything else I can add to that, because that's exactly where I think the money should go. Moreover, I think that there's a great level of distrust, at least out at the grassroots, of some of the things that's been going on with the city council and some of the projects that they've been pushing. Even the Southbrook Mall thing you brought up, I met a couple from New Zealand, and they were coming to visit Graceland, and I met another couple from Sweden, I don't know, somewhere, and they were coming to visit Graceland. And so we've got the second most visited home in the United States, or maybe in the world, right here in Memphis, Tennessee, and you'd think that we would invest that. People are not coming from New Zealand to go to Overton Square. Now, I'm all for the redevelopment in Overton Square, but I think that's come at a price, the price that's been paid by other areas of the community that have basically been just not have had any investment in. I think we need to take these resources and redirect those. I just don't think 50 cents on the property tax is really going to make people either move or stay, for that matter. So I just think that I differ from you. I can't hold my nose this time and vote for it because I'm for pre-K. I'd vote in a heartbeat to raise the sales tax, but I think we need to redirect those dollars directly into the workforce development, like you said, and some kind of permanent rotating fund trying to improve blight. Let me make this one last example. If you look at what former Mayor Harrington did down at Banneker Estates and Day Estates and Diamond Estates down on the southwest side of the city, if Memphis is to be saved, that really is the model. Convincing middle-class people, in this case middle-class African Americans, to move back into the city, move into the inner city, and to pay property taxes on homes that are middle-class and upper middle-class homes. That's the model that's going to bring Memphis back. Trying to placate those that have left, who aren't coming back, trying to use gimmicks to placate those that you're trying to make stay, those are just gimmicks. And while I'm all for pre-K, I just think that this plan that's been put forth, it's just not, in my opinion, it's just not working for me.
So what do you say to those folk who are out there supporting this, and they say, you guys are politically savvy. Why didn't you speak up when the city council was discussing this? Someone approached me about that last night, and I said, well, you did, D?
Yes.
Okay. That's important to know.
I talked to or I think either tweeted or Facebooked or something like that with a couple of city council members to try to talk about those ways that it could be improved. But I think the train started so much further ahead of time than the public knew. That of everything getting in a row and ducks getting in a row and the planning behind the scenes that went into this, really going back almost a year to when the city when the countywide sales tax took away the city sales tax. They didn't stop planning from that standpoint. It just kind of followed through and ended up there. And I think all the while it has been tied to the reduction in the property tax, despite the information that we know either from the campaign or from polling that people didn't care about that. People cared more about if the money was going to be, the additional money was going to be reinvested in neighborhood redevelopment. That's why Mayor Wharton said during the countywide sales tax that the money that went towards the city from the countywide sales tax would go towards libraries, community centers.
He sure did.
Because that was important. The other thing to remember and note is that either way this goes, whether it's approved or not tomorrow, that doesn't preclude a countywide sales tax. If it's approved tomorrow, a countywide sales tax could still come up, and only the people in unincorporated Shelby County would vote for it.
Okay, and so, if that happens, then Cardell, then unincorporated Shelby County would have that tax. But how would it affect the city of Memphis?
So it would the same as what it would reduce what the city of Memphis was getting. So it would take half of it and put it towards education again. So about what was estimated while we were doing it, about $30 million.
Mm-hmm.
And then it would send about, they could, in the fun way, they could still pay for pre-K. The interesting thing would be whether they would still put all the money towards pre-K. Because the city would get, I think, about 25, 26, 27, between 25 and 27 million. About $25 million going to the city, even from a countywide sales tax.
Countywide would trump all of the municipalities.
Yep.
Yes,
exactly.
absolutely.
Okay.
And then they would still get an allocation of municipal money directly to the city. It just depends on, for the city of Memphis, it would be reduced from what they get by a directed sales tax. For some of the suburban cities, they'd actually get more from a countywide sales tax than from their city sales
And it all would be routed through the county.
Yep.
Sounds like a plan.
For the people that, particularly even people that have been critical of me on my stance on this, if the sky's falling and the world's going in if we don't do the sales tax, I would argue, if it's that important, why don't we raise the property tax for it? If the people are that committed to it and they're screaming and shouting and saying it's all about the kids, if it's that important, then they ought to be willing to raise the property tax. To me, it just seems cynical that you would use the sales tax. You would use pre-K as a way to bring about the sales tax. And not address these other issues, and have the election at a time that you know turnout is going to be low. So the whole thing, to me, seems very politically cynical in a way. And so I just think that those people who criticize the people that are against this, they only have one way of looking at this.
Or as Reverend Whalum said, I think he's right on this. You could take a percentage of the property tax that doesn't get paid. The city of Memphis takes a smaller percentage of the pilot than the county does in what gets approved. I mean, if it was, as Dee is saying, that important, you'd add on that extra percentage. I think as they've even talked about for the city to go up to the amount that the county is.
Because I think one's 90, one's 75%, if
and
I'm
then
not
you
mistaken.
take that and put it towards pre-K.
That could work. That could definitely work. Okay, your prediction before we go to a quick break. Is the pre-K referendum going to pass tomorrow, Cardell?
It's tough, man.
Don't want to call it?
I'm gonna say I think it will. I think turnout is low enough that the media will make the difference and it'll pass, and the amount of money being spent.
What do you think, Dee?
I think it won't, because I believe that it has to pass by 2/3 in order for it to pass.
By 2/3?
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
so I
didn't know that. I thought it was just,
if it's 2/3, it fails.
Yeah, I think it's going to fail. So I'm predicting it fails.
If it's 2/3,
I think that it takes a 2/3 vote on the sales tax referendum. I need to go back and check.
Okay, check that, because we need to know. All right, you're watching Dialogue with Deidre. We'll be back in a moment, and we'll continue our conversation with Dee Harris and Cardell Orrin, and we'll be talking about elections in 2014.
Hello, I'm James Sanders. There is nothing more important than family and loved ones. Let us help you with your family law, personal injury, and juvenile court matters. Over the last 13 years, our firm has assisted more than 8,000 families in times of crisis, and we want to help your family during your time of legal need. Give us a call today at 901-864-4103 or visit us at jamesanderslaw.com. Don't sit on your rights. Call me today.
This past year, we all learned the statistics are true. 1 in 4 girls and 1 in 6 boys will experience child abuse, usually at the hands of someone they know. Child abuse happens every day. Learn the signs and take action, because keeping a child safe is everybody's business. Make a difference. Visit safehorizon.org to find out more. Safe Horizon, moving victims of violence from crisis to confidence.
Did you know that every 34 seconds someone has a heart attack? Every 40 seconds someone has a stroke? But it doesn't have to be that way. Every day there's hope. Join me and the American Heart Association and get serious about your heart and your health. If you're doing nothing, do something. If you're doing something, do more. Find healthy living solutions from the American Heart Association's My Heart, My Life. It's that simple.
right, guys, we gotta be smarter about what we bite on, okay? I want everyone to go outside. We're gonna run Red Rover on 3.
What about you, Tony?
I'm gonna run around circles, flat my arms, and make engine noises like this.
When it comes to playing, big kids are the pros.
We're eating right, too.
We fuel up to play 60.
Your school doesn't have a program? Be a leader. Start one.
Click today and join the movement.
Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
No, Taylor Brown is my drugstore.
Taylor Brown is our community drugstore.
No hassle transfer, auto refills, as well as a $4 generic program. Taylor Brown offers deliveries to all customers, including care homes, senior citizens, and hospice.
Taylor Brown accepts Express Scripts, Humana, Cigna, Medco, TennCare, and more.
And remember, it is by us, for us.
Hello, I'm James Sanders, and I want to be your personal injury lawyer. If you've been injured and it wasn't your fault, call me. I can help. 901-864-4103 or visit me at jamesanderslaw.com.
The Cardell Orrin Group is a full-service public relations agency. Celebrating 10 years of being in business, the Cardell Orrin Group is located in Midtown Memphis and represents clients across the country. No matter what size your business, if you are interested in promoting your product or service and increasing your market share, contact the firm that can help you meet your goals. The Cardell Orrin Group. Call 901-278-0881 today.
Back to Dialogue with Deidre. I'm reading. I'm not paying attention, audience. I apologize. I guess first day for issuing candidate nominating petitions is November 22nd. So it's here. Wow. May 6, 2014 is right around the corner. One of the biggest ballots, I think, in the history of Shelby County is going to be, I know, the primary. And then the general is in August 7th. So what are you guys thinking about this big ballot? All these judges on the ballot.
I mean, judges, I'd say, is probably one of the hardest for a candidate. One of the hardest races to run, partly because of the laws of Tennessee that limits how they raise money. They can't ask directly what they can talk about. So you really can't talk about anything that would make people want to or not vote for you. You can just kind of talk generally about yourself and kind of your history, but not really about issues. And then for the voting public, it's one of the hardest ones because who wants to have been in front of a judge, for one?
Exactly.
Unless you're on the winning side and got some money. And who knows, outside of being an attorney, what really makes a good judge? Like, you know, how do you judge these judges who have been there? So I think, you know, the judges' races are just kind of a mixed bag of how people vote, of whether it's name recognition, whether it's kind of knowing who somebody is, whether it's race or gender or alphabetical order. I think it's hard to call on those. I mean, so the judges' races, I think that's one of the toughest races to go.
D, you think the same thing?
I think the same thing. I think that, you know, I would give the nod to the incumbents, but also the way the laws are written, kind of in a quirky way, it really opens the door for wealthy people who happen to be attorneys, maybe have family money or big-time attorney. They could come in and win a judgeship really with no substance because of the way things are written. So it's set up for those people that are already there and those that have the most money, which depending on how you look at that, it could be kind of dangerous.
But I think for the judges' race, I don't think many of the judges' races have really been run with a lot of political and candidate strategy behind them, because there's such kind of a, I'll just get out there and go to a lot of events and
shake as many hands as possible.
Right, that you haven't really had a directed effort. And I think that there's some opportunity if you could get some candidates together that they could make a better show of it, because again, it's hard to raise money for judges' races because mainly it's attorneys who care about it.
Exactly.
Attorneys end up being hard to raise money from.
In 2002, I believe, when Jane Chandler was running for one of the city judgeships, you never saw her picture on anything, and they thought she was related to
the Wild Channel.
Exactly,
right.
exactly. And so she beat
Which was brilliant.
a white female.
It was a brilliant strategy.
It was a brilliant strategy. And then I think back at Lee Wilson, who was appointed, and Lee ran, and Lee was beat by someone who had run before. It was Chris Turner.
In fact, that was a weird one, because I don't think Lee, he was African American, but he didn't win one African American precinct, which was kind of weird. But it was Chris Turner. I
think it's name recognition. I think it plays a lot into it. Yeah. What about these other races? I was out at a reception last night and ran into the assessor. The assessor's back on the ballot.
Yeah.
I guess based on the change in the charter, she's back on the ballot this time. What other races?
Oh, everything is I call it the big enchilada. Everything in their mom is on the ballot. So, which for the down ballot races can be a problem. I mean, with this many races, there's going to be some drop off. And so, my concern would be for the down ballot races, how those people campaign and create value and try to partner up with other folks that are running for other stuff, because it's going to be rough. Obviously, there's the county mayor's race and the DA's race and all those good races, and the county mayor's race.
Say it one more time.
The county mayor's race. So we hope to have that taken care of. But
how important is the top of the ticket?
Extremely important.
Okay.
To help build brand for the rest of the ticket, because obviously you're going to have people. You always have what we call ticket drags. People who end up on the ticket don't have a lot of money, might have a little name recognition, don't have a whole lot of crossover appeal countywide, and they tend to be a drag on the rest of the ticket. So it's extremely important that the top of the ticket is strong and solid to be able to balance that out.
I think the caveat there is if the top of the ticket is working with the rest of the ticket, because it doesn't necessarily guarantee a sweep. You can go back to 2006, where there was a lower Republican turnout than there was in 2010, and you still had Mayor Wharton win the top of the ticket. But did anybody else win?
No.
In 2002?
In 2006. In 2006, which would have been the last four. Who was the clerk? Rita Clark?
Rita Clark was it, but she wasn't on that day.
She wasn't on that one. Okay.
No.
So you still had Republican victories down ticket from the mayoral, even though Mayor Wharton swept.
But there were questions about that election.
Questions about every election since.
So a coordinated effort on for the Democratic Party is going to be essential.
Yes. Yeah. And I think so. I think if you got a strong top ticket, then even people who are strong within the ticket. So if you take the case of 2010, where you might say Joe Ford wasn't necessarily a strong top of the ticket. I mean, he was strong in name, but not necessarily in some of the other things that came out and how the races were run. But you still had strong people who were on lower on the ticket. You had Regina, who was running for trustee, who was already the interim, who had been appointed to the trustee, running from the office. Yeah, Randy Wade, was a strong candidate running for sheriff. And
we polled that race, and based on the numbers, we knew that Joe was probably going to lose to Luttrell, and that's just because of some of his challenges. But Randy was slated to win that race.
Yeah, by 11 points. I think
exactly.
He was 11 points up a week before the election. That's unheard of.
Because you still had, and I was just looking at the numbers, thinking about coming on the show. I think in the August of 2010 election, you still had, I think it was about, out of the people who voted in August, you had 55% were Democrats and 43% voted in the Republican primary, because they were voting in. I mean, you can tell because they were voting in the federal primary or statewide primary. So I mean, you still had a fairly large percentage who were Democrat, but you had a sweep of the Republican candidates, and so it still becomes something that, and even going back to 2006, that was an even wider margin of Democrats voting over Republicans. So in part, it's having a good ticket. I mean, it all has to come together. It's
has to be a good ticket,
running a good campaign, and holding on to what most people would say are white Democrats, but also middle class, upper class, African American.
And also
Democrats.
not turning voters away, saying they voted early when they hadn't.
Exactly.
That was a big problem. A lot of people didn't get to vote. And quite frankly, the election commission said it was 3,000. We projected it was a lot more. So, those kind of things cannot happen.
Well, we're running out of time, gentlemen. We're going to have you come back. We're going to have Election Commissioner Norma Lester come on. We're going to talk to her briefly about the audit and their preparation for 2014. But we'd like to have you come back on too, as well, and continue this discussion because we know that these elections in 2014 are going to be so important to the future of this county. So, and I value your opinions. Thank you so much for being on Dialogue with Deidre.
Thank you.
Thank you for having me.
All right. So let us know what you think about the show. We're excited that Dee Harris and Cardell Orrin were able to join us, John Cameron earlier in the show, and let us know what you think about today's show by going to the Dialogue with Deidre Facebook page and posting your comments, because we want to know what you think about our guests. So we'll see you next Wednesday, same time, same place. Thanks for watching Dialogue with Deidre.
Hello, I'm James Sanders. There is nothing more important than family and loved ones. Let us help you with your family law, personal injury, and juvenile court matters. Over the last 13 years, our firm has assisted more than 8,000 families in times of crisis, and we want to help your family during your time of legal need. Give us a call today at 901-864-4103 or visit us at jamessanderslaw.com. Don't sit on your rights. Call me today.
This past year,